There is a truth that almost everyone learns too late. The more you try to convince people of your value, the less they tend to see it. You explain yourself, you prove yourself, you sacrifice your time, you become available whenever they call. You work harder than anyone notices, hoping that one day they'll finally appreciate you. But appreciation that has to be forced is never real. Respect that has to be begged for is never lasting. Your worth is not something you argue for, it's something you demonstrate. Quietly, consistently, without needing applause. There was once a master craftsman whose furniture was known throughout the country. Wealthy people traveled long distances just to buy one of his tables. A young carpenter asked him, "How do you convince people that your work is worth more than everyone else's?" The old man smiled. "I never convinced them." He gently placed his hand on a finished table. "I simply build something they cannot ignore." That is the difference. Don't spend your life convincing people you're valuable. Become so committed to excellence that your character, your discipline, and your results quietly speak on your behalf. Many people waste years trying to be chosen. Chosen by friends, chosen by employers, chosen by relationships, chosen by society. But the greatest shift in your life happens the moment you stop asking, "Will they choose me?" and start asking, "Am I becoming someone I'm proud to be?" Because the person who respects themselves no longer depends on constant validation. Think about a lighthouse standing beside the ocean. It doesn't chase ships. It doesn't beg sailors to notice its light. It simply stands where it belongs. Night after night, storm after storm. And because it remains faithful to its purpose, people naturally depend on it. Your life should be like that. Stand firm in your values. Remain consistent in your work. Stay faithful to your purpose. The right people will recognize your value without you chasing their attention. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing availability with kindness. They answer every message immediately, cancel their own plans to satisfy everyone else. Never say no. Never protect their time. Then they wonder why people don't respect their boundaries. Imagine owning a beautiful library. If you allowed everyone to take books without returning them, how long would the library remain valuable? Scarcity creates appreciation. Boundaries create respect. When people know your time has value, they begin treating it differently. There was an elderly professor who mentored hundreds of successful students over his lifetime. One day, someone asked, "Why don't you accept every request to meet?" He replied, "Because if I say yes to everyone, I won't have enough time to become the person they came to learn from." That answer changed the way I think about time. Every unnecessary commitment quietly steals time from your purpose. Protect it. Your future depends on it. Another lesson worth remembering is this: people observe far more than they listen. You may tell people you're disciplined, but they'll notice whether you keep your promises. You may say you're trustworthy, but they'll watch how you handle responsibility. You may claim you're confident, but they'll pay attention to how you respond when life becomes difficult. Words introduce you. Actions define you. There was once a violinist preparing for an important concert. A reporter asked, "What will you say to your audience before you begin?" She smiled. "I've spent years preparing, so I won't need many words." That is excellence. Preparation speaks, results speak, character speaks, without making a sound. Another reason people fail to teach others their worth is because they constantly explain themselves. Every decision becomes a long conversation. Every boundary becomes an apology. Every no becomes a detailed defense. But emotionally mature people understand something powerful. You are allowed to make decisions that protect your peace without requesting permission from everyone around you. No is a complete sentence. Respectful, honest, clear. There was once an old gardener who grew the healthiest trees in his village. Someone asked him, "What's your secret?" He answered, "I prune healthy branches too." The visitor looked confused. The gardener continued, If I keep every branch, the tree cannot become strong. Life is exactly like that. Sometimes you must remove good things to make room for great things. Some invitations must be declined. Some relationships must become distant. Some distractions must end. Not because you dislike people, because your purpose requires space to grow. Another habit that quietly teaches people your worth is learning to become comfortable with silence. Not every criticism deserves an answer. Not every rumor requires a response. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Imagine an eagle flying above a valley. Small birds chirp constantly below. The eagle never flies downward to argue. It continues rising. Your energy should work the same way. Rise above unnecessary drama. Rise above gossip. Rise above the endless need to prove yourself. Your peace is too valuable to trade for temporary arguments. One thing I've noticed about truly respected people is that they don't compete for attention. They compete with yesterday's version of themselves. Every morning they ask, how can I become better than I was yesterday? Not, how can I impress more people today? That simple shift changes everything, because growth creates confidence. Confidence creates quiet strength. Quiet strength creates respect, and respect earned naturally lasts far longer than attention demanded loudly. Another lesson life teaches is that consistency builds reputation. Anyone can be impressive for one day, 1 week, 1 month, but character is revealed over years. There was an old watchmaker whose clocks became famous because they almost never failed. A young apprentice asked, how do you make them so reliable? The watchmaker replied, I don't build them to impress people today. I build them to still be working years from now. Build your life that way. Don't chase quick admiration. Build lasting character. Don't seek temporary applause. Build permanent integrity, because your reputation is created by what you repeatedly do when nobody is watching. People eventually notice consistency, not because you announced it, because excellence is difficult to hide. Stop announcing your worth. Start living it. Stop demanding respect. Become respectable. Stop chasing attention. Become unforgettable through your character. Because the strongest statement you'll ever make isn't something you say. It's the life you quietly build every single day. And when you begin living that way, something remarkable happens. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself. You stop chasing people who don't appreciate you. You stop trying to force connections that were never meant to last. Instead, you begin investing your energy where it truly belongs, into becoming someone whose character speaks before they ever open their mouth. There was once an old stone mason who spent years building bridges across villages. A traveler asked him, how do people know your work is good? The old man smiled and pointed to a bridge that had stood for decades. I don't tell them. I let time answer the question. Think about that. Time reveals quality. Time reveals character. Time reveals integrity. Anyone can pretend for a day. Anyone can impress for a week. But only consistency survives the test of time. If you want people to recognize your worth, stop trying to create quick impressions. Build lasting value. Another mistake many people make is giving discounts on their standards just because they're afraid of losing people. They tolerate disrespect. They ignore broken promises. They accept less than they deserve. Not because they don't know better, because they're afraid of being alone. But here's what life teaches. The fear of being alone has trapped more people than loneliness ever has. Never lower your standards just to keep people who don't respect them. There was once a merchant known for selling the finest handmade pottery in the region. A customer asked why he refused to lower his prices when cheaper pots were available everywhere. The merchant replied, if I lower the value of my work to match those who rush, I teach people to expect less from me. Your life works the same way. Every time you accept disrespect, you quietly teach people that disrespect is acceptable. Every time you ignore your own boundaries, you quietly teach people your boundaries don't matter. People often learn how to treat you by watching what you continue to tolerate. Teach them wisely. One of the strongest habits you can develop is becoming emotionally independent. This doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means your peace no longer depends on their approval. Imagine the sun rising every morning. It doesn't ask whether anyone appreciates its light. It shines because that's its purpose. Whether people notice it or not changes nothing. Live like that. Do good because it's right. Work hard because excellence matters. Stay disciplined because your future deserves it. Don't let your motivation depend on applause. Applause fades. Purpose remains. There was an elderly violin teacher whose students admired both his skill and his humility. One day a student asked, "How did you become so confident?" He answered, "I stopped measuring myself by compliments and started measuring myself by commitment." That answer carries tremendous wisdom. Compliments come and go. Commitment builds character. If you remain committed long enough, confidence naturally follows. Another truth many people avoid is this: not everyone deserves access to every part of your life. Some people celebrate your success, others secretly compete with it. Some encourage your dreams, others quietly discourage them. Learn to recognize the difference. There was once a man planting an orchard on land that had never grown fruit before. His neighbor laughed at him every morning. "You're wasting your time. You'll never harvest anything." The man never argued. He simply kept planting. Years later, the same neighbor asked if he could buy fruit from the orchard. The planter smiled kindly. Notice something. He never won the argument. He simply outlived it with results. That is how you teach people your worth. Not by proving them wrong with words, by proving yourself right through consistent action. I've also learned that protecting your peace increases your value. People who constantly react to every message, every rumor, every insult, every opinion, become emotionally exhausted. But people who know when to remain silent, who know when to walk away, who know when to preserve their energy, carry themselves differently. Calmness communicates confidence. Desperation communicates insecurity. Choose calmness. Another lesson worth remembering is that excellence attracts opportunities. Average effort constantly seeks recognition. Excellent work naturally creates it. Think about a diamond. It doesn't advertise itself. Its value exists because of what it is. Become that kind of person. Develop skills. Strengthen your discipline. Improve your mindset. Honor your word. When your value increases, opportunities begin searching for you. One thing that changed my thinking forever was realizing that not everyone is supposed to understand your journey. Imagine reading only the first chapter of someone's story and believing you know how it ends. That would be foolish. Yet many people judge your future based on your current season. Let them. You don't owe everyone an explanation. The next chapter will speak for itself. Another powerful habit is learning to leave with dignity. If someone repeatedly disrespects your time, leave. If an environment constantly destroys your peace, leave. If a relationship requires you to abandon your values, leave. Not with anger, not with revenge, with quiet confidence. Walking away from what consistently dishonors you is not weakness, it's wisdom. Remember this: your absence often teaches lessons that your presence never could. People sometimes appreciate your value only after they've experienced life without your consistency, your honesty, and your character. Don't leave to punish them. Leave because you've finally chosen to respect yourself. There was once an elderly clockmaker who built clocks that lasted generations. Someone asked him why he never rushed his work. He replied, "I would rather spend extra time creating something excellent than spend years explaining something average." Let that become your mindset. Spend your energy improving yourself, not explaining yourself. Build your reputation through discipline. Build your confidence through consistency. Build your influence through integrity. And let your actions become the loudest introduction you'll ever make. So beginning today, stop begging for attention. Stop chasing validation. Stop explaining your worth to people determined not to see it. Instead, read one more chapter. Practice one more hour. Keep one more promise. Protect one more boundary. Walk away from one more distraction. Become 1% better than yesterday, day after day, month after month, year after year, because the people who truly recognize your worth won't need convincing. They'll see it in your discipline. They'll hear it in your honesty. They'll feel it in your presence. And they'll trust it because it's backed by consistent action. Remember this every morning. The strongest people don't spend their lives trying to look valuable. They spend their lives becoming valuable. And when they do, respect follows. Opportunities follow, peace follows, success follows, not because they demanded it, but because they quietly became the kind of person whose worth could no longer be ignored.